In this practical lesson, I'll guide you through crafting a business budget using Excel. If you don't have access to a computer, don't worry. You can still follow along using a bookkeeping or accounting ledger. These are available at most stationery stores and come with pre-drawn lines and columns. Alternatively, grab a standard notebook and draw the columns you need by hand. If you're already using an accounting package, it's worth taking full advantage of its built-in budgeting functionality. This feature is designed to simplify financial management by integrating budgeting directly with your existing accounts. By using the tools that are part of your accounting software, you can save valuable time and reduce the risk of manual errors. Every entry, transaction, and report feeds directly into the budgeting system, giving you access to real-time insights that reflect your actual financial activity. This connection allows you to forecast more accurately, track expenses with greater precision, and make informed decisions about your business. Not only does this enhance your ability to manage day-to-day finances, but it also helps you stay organized by consolidating tasks into one streamlined platform. There's no need to switch between spreadsheets or manage multiple systems. By relying on the budgeting tools built into your accounting software, you create a smoother, more efficient workflow that provides a clear, consistent view of your financial health. Before we move forward, let's take a moment to review the key Excel functions and keyboard shortcuts we'll be using in this lesson. This quick overview will help you navigate Excel more efficiently and make the budget creation process smoother. Here are the primary keyboard shortcuts we'll be using throughout the lesson. Control and C to copy. Control and X to cut. Control and V to paste. Control and Z to undo the last action. Control and B for bold. Control and I for italic. And Control and U for underline. Now let's take a look at Excel. Open a new workbook. The headings at the top are called tabs. Just below them, you'll find the ribbon, which holds all the tools and functions we'll be using. Below the ribbon is the worksheet grid, made up of columns and rows. Columns run vertically and are labelled with letters A, B, C, while rows run horizontally and are labelled with numbers 1, 2, 3. The intersection of a column and row forms a cell where you'll enter data. Can't see the ribbon when you open Excel? Click on the Home tab. The ribbon will pop up. Now navigate to the far right bottom corner of the ribbon. You will see an icon of a drawing pin. Click on the icon to pin the ribbon to the toolbar. Click on any cell in your Excel workbook. Right-click your mouse. A menu will open and you will see options similar to our keyboard shortcuts. Copy, cut, and various paste options. The first is direct paste. This pastes everything exactly as it is, including formatting, formulas, and values. The second is paste values. This pastes only the result or value from the copied cell, without any formulas or formatting. And the third is paste formulas. This pastes just the formula from the copied cell, keeping the references and calculations intact. You will also see that the same options are available in the top left of the Excel ribbon. We'll explore the rest of the Excel functions you'll need to create your budget as we go. Let's get started. First, save your Excel file by clicking the File tab in the top left corner. This opens the menu. Select Save As. Choose a location on your computer and enter a name for your file. Finally, click Save to confirm. Practical Lesson 3. Crafting a Business Budget. Now that you've saved your spreadsheet, let's take a look at the budgeting tool template. If you've signed up for the full course, you will receive this template as a downloadable resource. This budget covers all the essential elements you need to manage your finances effectively. It includes sales, cost of sales, and other income. You'll also see gross profit, operating expenses, and the net profit or loss before tax. The template factors in income tax, giving you a clear view of the net profit or loss after tax. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how to apply these figures to track and accurately forecast your business's financial performance. This template accounts for both the budgeted amounts and the actual amounts. We've also included a total year-to-date column and a variances column with indicators to show how your business is performing. It is similar to the personal month-by-month budget we created earlier. By comparing these figures, you'll be able to spot trends, adjust your plans, and stay on top of your financial goals. When working with a business budget, we often use the prior year's actual figures to help forecast for the new financial year. These numbers provide valuable insights and help create a more realistic and informed budget. If you're starting out and don't have financial figures from the previous year, that's okay. You can leave this section blank for now. In the beginning, it may feel like guesswork, but as the year progresses, you'll have opportunities to update your budget. By making adjustments along the way, you'll ensure your budget becomes more accurate and reflects your business activities. Let's get started on creating your business budget template. Since this budget follows a similar layout to the personal budget you created earlier, you can save time by reusing that template. Simply make a copy, remove the descriptions and financial data, and you'll have a clean slate to build from. But don't worry. If you'd rather start fresh, I'll guide you step by step on how to create this budget from scratch. Let's begin by setting up the basic structure. Let's start by setting up the headings. We'll begin with the account descriptions and the prior year's actual figures. In this case, we're working with data for the financial year ending in 2024. Next, we'll add the month headings. Keep in mind, the start month can vary depending on the business's financial year end. For this example, the business has a financial year end in February. This means the financial year aligns with the SARS tax year, so the start month will be March 2024. Now that we have the first month entered, let's move on to filling out the rest of the year. Click into the cell with the first month. Next, hover over the bottom right corner of the cell until you see a small cross appear. Left-click, hold, and drag the cursor across until you reach February 2025. This simple step will automatically fill in the months for the entire financial year. Next, let's input the relevant account descriptions and prior year financial information. Start by listing the key accounts that reflect your business operations. This might include sales, cost of sales, operating expenses, and any other relevant categories. Once the descriptions are in place, enter the prior year's financial figures if applicable. Remember to account for the totals of each section. This will help ensure your calculations are accurate and up to date. Don't forget to include relevant profit calculations, such as gross profit, net profit before tax, and net profit after tax. Take your time to ensure everything is correct, as this forms the foundation for your budgeting process. Now that we have the initial data in, we need to make space for both budget and actual figures. To do this, we're going to insert a column for each month. This will allow us to track both the budgeted and actual amounts side by side. Start by right-clicking on the column where the month is listed. From the menu, select Insert. This will add a new column to the left of the selected one. Repeat this process for each month to ensure there is space for both budget and actual data throughout the entire year. Take your time as you work through each column to keep everything aligned. Since the month headings now apply to 2 columns each, we need to merge them to keep the spreadsheet organized. Start by highlighting both cells for the first month. Next, go to the ribbon at the top of the screen and click on the Merge button. This will combine the 2 cells, centering the month heading across both columns. Repeat this process for each month until the entire spreadsheet is updated. Merging the headings will make it easier to read and ensure the layout stays clean and professional. In the column immediately following February 2025, add a totals column. This will help us calculate and track overall figures for the year. Next, above the month headings, add labels for budget and actual. These labels will clearly define each column and ensure the data is easy to follow. Once the labels are in place, copy them across the entire worksheet to align with each month. Now, in the totals column, update the headings to reflect budget year to date and actual year to date. This will give you a running total of your financials, helping you monitor performance throughout the year. Next, add variance columns to track the differences between budgeted and actual amounts. Start by adding 2 new columns after the actual year-to-date column. The first column will show the variance in Rand values, giving you a clear number representing the difference. The second column will be for indicators, which can highlight whether the variance is positive or negative. These variance columns will provide quick insights into areas where your business is performing well or where adjustments might be needed. Now let's calculate the totals for each section of your budget using the AutoSum function. This will help you quickly add up the values in each category without manually entering the formulas. For gross profit, the formula is simple. It's the total sales minus the total cost of sales. To calculate the net profit before tax, add gross profit to other income and then subtract operating expenses. Finally, to calculate the net profit after tax, take the net profit before tax and subtract income tax. These formulas will give you a clear picture of your business's financial performance at every stage. The income tax calculation will depend on the tax structure of the business. If the business is taxed at the standard company tax rate, this will be 27%. However, if the business qualifies as a small business corporation, tax will be calculated on a sliding scale based on the net profit before tax. If you are unsure which rate applies, it's best to consult with a tax practitioner to confirm. In the meantime, it's wise to use the standard 27% rate for your calculations. This ensures you set aside sufficient funds to cover your provisional tax obligations. For businesses with a February year end, provisional tax payments are due at the end of August and again at the end of February. Remember, provisional tax is not a separate tax. It's a prepayment towards the final income tax due. By factoring this in now, you'll avoid surprises and ensure your business stays compliant. Let's finish off our template by adding some visually appealing structure. First, we'll add a few spacer columns to create separation between different sections of the budget. This helps improve readability and gives the template a clean, organized look. Next, we'll apply borders to key areas to clearly define the cells and sections. This will make it easier to navigate the spreadsheet and distinguish between different categories. To enhance the overall design, we'll also update the cell and font colors. Consider using subtle, professional colors that align with your brand or business identity. This not only makes the template more visually engaging, but also helps important figures and headings stand out. Now that the template layout is complete, it's time to start entering some financial information. As you begin, it's important to think about any seasonal changes that could affect your business. For some businesses, there may be a dip in activity during winter, with sales picking up in the summer. For others, it could be the opposite. When planning your budget, be sure to account for these fluctuations so that your forecasts are as accurate as possible. Keep in mind that while most operating expenses might remain fixed, there are a few that could be variable. Expenses like utilities, raw materials, and commission payments often change from month to month, so it's essential to reflect those shifts in your budget. By factoring in these variables, you'll create a more realistic and reliable financial plan. This next part is entirely optional, but it can add a polished, professional touch to your budget template. I'm going to add a few extra rows at the top to create a report heading. This helps give the document a more structured and visually appealing look, especially if you plan to share it with others or present it in meetings. Remember, you don't have to add a heading if you prefer to keep things simple. But if you'd like to follow along, let's go ahead and insert those additional rows and design the heading to reflect your business name and the financial year. The next step is critical for ensuring your budget functions properly. We're going to add an additional row for the control month. This row plays an essential role when calculating year-to-date totals. Start by labeling the cell in column B as current month date. In column C, we'll leave space for entering the actual month. This cell will be used once actuals are recorded and you need to total the budget and actuals up to that specific point in time. This step ensures that your formulas calculate correctly and adjust dynamically as the year progresses. Without this control row, your formulas for year-to-date figures won't work as intended. Now that we have the control month entered, let's go ahead and input the formula to calculate the relevant year-to-date figures. The formula may look complicated, but you can copy it exactly as shown here and paste it directly into your worksheet. A simple explanation of this formula is that it sums the budget or actual figures up to the selected control month. It works by checking which months fall within the specified period and selecting the appropriate columns to include in the total. This ensures that only data up to the control month is reflected in the year-to-date calculation. We'll apply this formula to the budget year-to-date column and then adjust it for the actuals year-to-date column. Once you've entered some data for your actuals, it's time to input the formula to calculate your year-to-date totals. Make sure the control month is updated to reflect the current month you're working with. This step ensures that your budget and actual figures are correctly totaled up to that point in time. By keeping the control month accurate, your financial reports will stay aligned with real-time performance, giving you a clear snapshot of how the business is tracking. Now that we have the formula in place, let's apply it to the rest of the budget line items. To do this, click on the cell with the formula and press Ctrl and C to copy it. Next, highlight the cells where you want the formula to be applied. Once the cells are selected, right-click your mouse and choose Paste Special, then select Formulas. This ensures that only the formula is copied over, without affecting any formatting or other data in the cells. By doing this, you'll quickly and accurately apply the formula across all relevant line items in the budget. Once you've used the Paste Formulas function, you can select the cells where you want to apply the formula and press F4 on your keyboard. This repeats the last action, copying the formula down through the selected cells. Using F4 helps save time and ensures consistency across all rows, making the process quick and efficient. As you paste your formulas, you might notice a light green or red triangle appearing in the corner of some cells. If you click on the cell, a small exclamation mark may pop up. This indicates an error message. The error will typically state that adjacent cells are being omitted from the formula. This is actually correct. We don't want to include those adjacent cells. Including them could cause the year-to-date function to break and produce incorrect results. To resolve this, highlight all the affected cells. Next, click on the exclamation mark and select Ignore Error from the drop-down list. This will clear the warning and ensure your formulas work as intended. Now let's capture some financial data in the Actuals columns for a couple of months. This step is essential to test that our formulas are working correctly and that the year-to-date calculations are updating as expected. Go ahead and input realistic figures for sales, expenses, or any relevant line items for at least 2 months. Once the data is in, double-check that the totals and variances are reflecting accurately. Testing the formulas at this stage helps identify and resolve any potential issues before the budget is fully implemented. Let's add checksums to the budget worksheet to ensure our formulas are working correctly. Start by selecting a column after the budget variance column. In the row where the financial data begins, select a cell and type equals. Next, click on the budget year-to-date value for that row. Type equals again, and now select the March 2024 value. Then add April, then May by typing the plus sign between each value. Once you've added the values, hit Enter. If the formula is working correctly, the result will display the word True. If you see False, it means there's an issue, and you'll need to check your formula to ensure it matches the data correctly. Once you've verified the formula, copy it down the rest of the column. To do this, hover your mouse over the bottom right corner of the cell until you see the little black cross. Then left-click, hold, and drag to the end of the column. Repeat the same process for the Actuals checksum. This time, ensure you select the March to May Actuals values for the formula. Now we want to calculate the variance between what we budgeted and what we actually spent. For the income section, the formula is actual minus budget. This shows if we earned more or less than expected. For the expense line items, the formula is budget minus actuals. This highlights any overspending or savings in each category. We use 2 different formulas because positive and negative variances mean different things for income and expenses. For income, if the actual amount is higher than the budgeted amount, it reflects extra earnings, a positive result. That's why we calculate actual minus budget. For expenses, if the actual amount is lower than the budgeted amount, it indicates savings. Overspending would show as a negative variance. To reflect this accurately, we calculate budget minus actual. This method ensures that positive variances always represent favorable outcomes, like more income or less spending, while negative variances highlight areas to review, such as lower income or higher expenses. Profit calculations follow the same logic as income. To calculate the profit variance, simply subtract the budgeted amount from the actual amount. In other words, it's actuals minus budget. This straightforward calculation will help you track how closely your actual profits align with your budgeted expectations. Now let's add the indicators to our spreadsheet. For this, we'll use a simple if function to flag variances with visual symbols. Start by typing equals, then the word if, followed by an open bracket. Next, select the variance cell value for the row you're working on. After that, type the less than symbol and the number 0. If the variance is negative, we'll display an X symbol. Enter the X symbol in quotation marks, followed by a comma or semicolon, depending on your system settings. For positive variances, we'll use a checkmark symbol. Add this symbol in quotation marks after another comma or semicolon. Finally, close the bracket and hit Enter. This formula will now show an X if the variance is negative and a check mark if it's positive. Once the formula is working, copy it down the entire column. Next, we will format the symbols by assigning the color red to the X symbol and green to the check mark. This will make it easier to visually distinguish positive and negative variances. To do this, start by highlighting the column containing the indicators. Click on Conditional Formatting in the top ribbon, then select New Rule. Choose the option Format only cells that contain. In the drop-down menu, select Specific Text. Copy your X symbol into the relevant field and click Format. Choose red as the color and click OK. Now, repeat the process for the checkmark symbol. Copy the checkmark into the relevant field and this time choose green as the color. This formatting adds a clear color-coded reference to help you easily identify positive and negative results at a glance. You have successfully created your business budget. With this detailed and dynamic template, you now have a powerful tool to track, forecast, and manage your financial performance. Remember, the key to effective budgeting is regular updates. Make sure to review your actuals and adjust your budget as needed throughout the year. By staying proactive, you'll be better prepared to make informed decisions and achieve your business goals. Congratulations! You have successfully created your business budget. Well done!